This experience, Ohio looks pretty good. I mean, their quarterback is a really good player. He makes a lot of plays on his feet, and it's always difficult to prepare for a team like that because he's a dual threat guy, and so when things break down in the pass game, he can always make a play with his feet. And so that's been a thing to prepare for, definitely. And they have good receivers. Number 7 especially looks really good. I'm not sure what his name is, but I saw him make a few plays. I was able to watch the Northern Illinois game when we were on the road last week because we knew we were possibly playing them, and he made some big plays. He's a good player. The running backs run hard. O-line looks solid, and yeah, that's about all I have on Ohio.
Earlier, I remember when you broke in, Rita, the first game that they gave you a chance to play much here was you had to cover Kaepernick. Is this guy somewhat like that? Would you think they would give you that kind of assignment a little bit defensively to watch that quarterback?
I'm not sure if I'll be watching him as much as I was Kaepernick in the game, but Kaepernick ran the ball a lot more than this kid. This kid is more, it seems like when things break down, he makes run plays. Kaepernick was put in a lot of read situations, and this quarterback doesn't seem like he has to be put in those situations as much, not as much read option and things that way. And it's a lot of stuff in the pass game, so I'll probably be out of the equation when he breaks down and starts running the ball. So.
What was the actual injury you suffered at New Mexico State?
I separated the AC joint. So, yeah.
But you're okay now?
Yeah. Lori Olson and her staff, they've done a great job. It was just a minor injury. It was nothing too big, and I've been working with her and her staff, and I'm practicing now again and ready to go.
Most of the quarterback yardage are not coming on call plays in rushing yardage?
There's a few of them, but it's definitely not as high a percentage as Kaepernick's was. He ran the ball a lot more, so. Yeah.
Tell us how, Coach said practices haven't been long, but have been good. Do you feel like you get enough stuff done in, the hour and 15, 20 minutes that you guys have been going and things like that?
Yeah, I think coaches have done a great job preparing us in meetings. We still had the same amount of meetings, and so preparation and film has been similar, and then practicing, we're just trying to keep guys fresh, and so we're out there, and practices have looked clean so far through the film, and there's still some minor things to clean up and adjustments to be made, but overall, I think we've been doing a good job preparing. So.
And there's always the inevitable question at this point. Is there somebody you think we played that's kind of like this offensively, or do you feel like you're preparing game plan or what they're making you do for somebody we played this year offensively?
I would say they're kind of similar to Nevada in that they have the read stuff, and the quarterback is a good runner just as Nevada's was, the freshman from Nevada. And I would say they're comparable players. And so, yeah, Nevada.
They run any pistols?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they do run some pistol. Yep.
Let's talk about this but the thing with Coach Anderson in the preseason with you guys. If you made it to a bowl, he'd get a tattoo.
Yeah, he, like you said, before the season, he promised if we made it to a bowl game, he'd get a tattoo on the back of his shoulder. I'm not sure if he's got that tattoo yet. He did get it, so I'm looking forward to see that today. I'm gonna have to ask him about that. Yeah, it's pretty awesome though. It's fun as a player to have coaches that do those types of things, and gives you some more incentive to play for a guy like that.
Yeah, we're excited to be here. Ready to play a great opponent in Ohio. The team couldn't be more excited to be playing in a bowl game. It's a lot of anticipation for it. It's just a great time to be an Aggie and an Aggie fan.
What do you see of their defense? What are your first thoughts when you look at them?
It's there's certain areas where we definitely we think we can expose them. We've watched a lot of film. I personally too was in there yesterday watching a lot of film. And, there's certain aspects of that defense that I think could be taken advantage of They have some great players. 47 is a really good player. I think number 13 is a pretty good safety. So we'll have to be cautious of those guys, but certainly go after the other guys.
They've held 5 opponents under 100 yards rushing this year, which is what you want to do.
Yeah, I don't think they've seen a rushing offense like we have. Watching all the film, from teams they played in the MAC, it's a lot of spread offense. 4 wide with more throwing to it as opposed to our read option and triple option aspects we had to our offense. So I think it'll be something they haven't seen this year for the most part, and I think that'll be an advantage for us coming in.
From watching film, what do you think they do well on defense?
What do they do well? I think they do a pretty good job of not letting guys get behind them too often. We noticed that. They're pretty good at controlling the big play. Even when it seemed a couple times like there was big play potential, and one guy would just disrupt. The good recovery. So I think we all saw that. Obviously we like to think of ourselves as a big play offense, even with our running attack. A lot of holes open up, especially with Term and Mike, with their speed. So hopefully we can switch that around. But I think that's the biggest thing that we've noticed is their ability to control that big play.
They also have had 1 interception in 8 of 13 games. They're one of the leading teams in the nation. Are they really good at going after footballs?
Yeah, especially number 4. Like I said, he plays the ball really well. Even a couple times when he got beat, just like I was just saying, he recovers well, gets a hand up, and makes a play on it. So we have to be cautious of that. I've thrown a couple interceptions in the last couple games, so I have to personally do a better job of taking care of the ball, not putting our defense in a tough spot. So just got to be aware of it. And I watched the Bowling Green game, and I think they got 2 picks, but they dropped another 2 or 3. So they definitely play the ball well in the air.
Adam, who would have? Let's see. What are we at? Maybe a little more than 2 months ago. Who would have ever expected you'd be in this position? Have you ever contemplated or thought about what it's been like for you here the last little bit?
It's been so crazy. I really haven't. It's always looking forward to the next opponent. The anticipation for the bowl game. So haven't really had that chance. I'm sure I will after, but right now it's just kind of fun. With all that's going on. Yeah, we were sitting there at 2-5. We were kind of in trouble a little bit. So it's been so much fun in the locker room. You can really see, the juice everyone has in there. Even just going out to practice on a daily basis, you can feel the turnaround and the excitement surrounding it. So it's been great for this program, this town. They've wrapped their hands around us, their arms around us. It's been fun.
But how big was it for you, that first pass you threw at Hawaii across to the sideline and Matt Austin makes a play for you? If that doesn't happen, do you think any of this happens?
A lot could have changed with that one. A couple inches down, that could have been tipped, even picked. But luckily, things swung our way. Goes over his fingertips, Matt makes a play on it, and the rest is history. So, yeah, I think that was a huge play. More importantly, just for my confidence alone, coming in first pass, Coach Baldwin having the confidence to call that play coming out, it was great. And then, you've seen the relationship that's been built between Matt and I. I completely trust that guy, and I think, a lot of it started with that play.
And Matt, here's a guy who's faced 2, season-ending injuries, possible career-threatening injuries. What have you learned from his work ethic and his drive to get back on the field?
The guy never gives up. He just continues to battle. He puts in so much work in the weight room and out in the field. Even helping when he couldn't practice, we had to wait. He was helping the young guys. Let him know what he knows, what he saw. He's just a classy guy, high character guy, and I'm extremely happy that he's getting all this attention and getting some of the spotlight. It's much deserved.
How has your game preparation changed, if any, now that you're the starter? And then have you changed your approach at all this week preparing for the bowl game?
Becoming the starter, really didn't change too much. I always tried to prepare like I was going to be, even as hard as that is. But in terms of preparing for this bowl week, you get 2 weeks, which is extremely nice. So you can watch a lot more film, really break these guys down, knowing you don't have anyone after. You can completely focus. So it's been really nice. Plus, everyone getting there, and myself included, get a chance to rest, get your legs back under you, get healthy. It's been really nice, but I think the biggest thing is just all the extra time you can spend in the film room. I think it's going to, make a huge impact on the game.
Back to Matt really quickly. Is that relationship with him something that you started even before you became the starter, or you guys always been close? We
were close from the day I got here, I guess you could say. He was, my host was Turb, but I went out to eat with a couple of guys, and it was Turb, Mike Smith, Stanley, and Matt Austin were the guys that I went out to eat with. They wanted me to meet the guys I'd end up throwing to or playing with. So from that point on, we've always just had a good relationship. We laugh on a daily basis. It's an ongoing joke with us now. So it's been great. It's been fun. But yeah, I'm glad that our off the field relationship, friendship, has crossed over to the football field, definitely.
Is there anything to this deal that you guys have to kind of put yourselves a little bit behind the 8 ball to kind of get going in games? You have to make it a little bit entertaining at the end. Is there something that gets your juices going a little bit extra there, or what?
I think we all wish we didn't. It ends up getting pretty dramatic. We certainly come out expecting to play well, expecting to dominate. Even versus Idaho, we came out strong and we felt so good about it, and then things kind of turn for the worse, which happens in games. But yeah, there's just something special about this team at the end of games. At the start of the year, it was rough, but I think we learned from it coming back, and now we have all the confidence in the world at the end of games. Standing on the sideline versus New Mexico right before we were about to get the ball back with, I think, 5:19 left. I was standing with the offensive line and Turb, and everyone just said, we've done this before, and not just once. We've done it 2 or 3 times. So no one panicked. Everyone had confidence. I think everyone, talking to especially Bojay specifically, said, it was different now than it was at the start, because now he said the defense felt they knew that we were going to score. So it's a huge turnaround, for this entire team, and something special happens at the end of games.
Do you guys need those tough losses to learn the lesson and make the adjustments?
I think everyone would prefer to learn from tough, fought-out wins, but it is what it is, and I think you try to learn what you can from each game, and I think we did that, and I think the coaches did a great job of instilling that in us. And now it's just a different mindset, and I'm sure those losses, even at the end of games now, you don't want to dwell on what's happened in the past, but you take a little bit of motivation. You don't want that feeling again.
Okay. It was a good week last week all around. I thought the kids did a nice job of dealing with school and finals and preparation for finals, and also with practice. So I was proud of the way they handled it. To really pick things up on Saturday morning was our best practice, and Saturday morning was like a game week Tuesday, if you will, and took Sunday off, and today will be like a game week Tuesday again, so it's kind of a bonus Tuesday. We will take tomorrow off from football and travel and just get situated, and then from there we'll be on a normal game week schedule, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So it's worked out very well. Happy with the progress and the reps that the young kids have gotten, taking about a half hour a day with those kids, and it's really helped us in their development, I believe. That'll pay dividends down the road, but it's also helped us in recruiting and identifying some young men in the program to see how far they've come from August until now, physically mentally it's very basic schemes for those young kids, but we have adjusted our recruiting board because of the development of some of the young kids in our program. Some of them have come farther than we thought, and some of them have not come as far as we thought. So it has been a big bonus for us to be able to see those kids be out on the field. Ohio, after closer look and spending much more time watching them, this is a very good football team. Tough-minded group overall when you watch them play. Been in some very tight ball games. Physical on offense, physical on defense. Smart coaches with difficult schemes. I think they do a nice job on defense, getting into third down packages, playing good, solid defense on control downs, which I believe all good defenses do, but it's very apparent that they're well coached, especially the way that they play catches my eye. Their front seven, I think, is technicians and fundamentally extremely sound just by the way that they play. So they're definitely a solid performing team in all areas on defense. But my eye always catches those kids just because I've spent so many years coaching them, and it was impressive. I think on the offensive side of the ball, offensive line works very well together. They've played a bunch of games together. Tight ends are big physical kids. Quarterback is extremely talented. I talk about it all the time, a quarterback that can hurt you with his arm, hurt you with his mind, and hurt you with his legs, and he does a very good job of that, and it's on film, and it's very apparent. So, but they're just a solid football team across the board, and you don't win 9 games without being a solid football team and playing a championship game of your conference without being a solid football team. So it'll be a tremendous, tremendous opportunity for us and a tremendous challenge, and we're looking forward to playing well and getting on the road here and getting to the bull site and work when it's time to work and play when it's time to play and enjoy the whole experience, and we will enjoy it.
Where does number 7, Levon Brazil, stack up in terms of receivers you've seen this year?
Way up there. I think the thing that separates him is he's a physical wide receiver, and he also has tremendous speed, and he's made a bunch of very impressive plays with his feet, and he goes up and gets contested balls. And I always look at a receiver, and to me, a receiver that can find a way to make plays on contested balls, along with having the speed and the skill set that he has, is very impressive. So, and he'll also get after you blocking wise, and so he's as good as wide receivers we face week in and week out. I think he's really the whole package. He's a tremendous player.
Do you put Tettleton in kind of that category, about as good as anybody who played a quarterback?
I do. He looks like a guy that would play in Nevada's offense a lot of times, and they have a flavor of the pistol, which probably makes it looks a little bit more familiar because of our dealings with Nevada. There is some similarities there at times, but as a quarterback, he is very talented, and I think he's youthful. Like Chucky, he likes to run around and make things happen, and has a lot of excitement to make some exciting plays for his team. And with his youthfulness and his excitement, and it seems to be contagious on the tape that I've seen. And he's definitely a leader of that football team. But he's a very good quarterback.
How is Walter progressing towards playing?
We're going to try to get Walter out a little bit this week and see how he can go, and the same is going to go for McCade, and the same is going to go for Phil. So we're going to get those young men a shot this week out of practice and see how they develop and they come through, and be great to let them be able to get out and play in this football game. But overall, Walter he ran some last week. He's progressed, and every single day hasn't had a setback, so hopefully we can get him out there, and how much he plays remain to be seen. But right now the goal is to let Walt play some snaps in the bowl game, which would be a great experience for him.
And was it your idea in the off season for the tattoo, or the players come up with that?
It was just something I came up with in the off season, just kind of on a whim, I guess, more than anything. And then we took it into him one day during camp, and I made the statement, I made the promise, so I made good on my promise. So there we have it. But it was just, I don't know, one of those crazy things I think of on the spur of the moment. And so we put it up on the big screen one day during camp. Can't remember how deep it was into camp, and I told them if they got themselves to a bowl game, then they would forever be on my left shoulder blade, and so they're on my left shoulder blade forever. So I'm glad to have it.
How does Stacy
Did it hurt?
feel?
Yeah.
How does Stacy feel?
Did it hurt?
She's good with it. She's she's supportive. She's with what this team has gone through and the ups and downs, and to always have that to cherish and remember and by is a great thing. So, but she has no problem with it. So, does it hurt? No, it's I don't want to sit and watch TV with a little thing clawing at my back. So it doesn't. I'm not gonna say it hurts, but it was fine. It was all right. So, no problems. Anything else?
Can I ask you a couple questions about next year?
You bet.
How many JCs and what positions?
Not many JCs. I don't have an exact number, but not nearly as many as we took a year ago. I think we're going to get a couple high school kids hopefully at mid-year, which is a switch for us and a step in the right direction. If I sit back right now and break it down by position of possible JC scenarios, I'm not going to rule anywhere out except for quarterback, probably as a JC player, and it's not going to happen at the quarterback position. But immediate needs, possibility of a safety at the JC spot. Now we do have Gavin and we do have Brian Sweet that I feel good about there, but that's a possibility. There's a possibility at linebacker with losing Bobby and Kyle. I feel pretty good about that crew also with changing some guys and moving some kids around, but there's a possibility there. There's always a possibility of junior college kids coming on the defensive front. One or two at the most would be. Offensive linemen, a good possibility you'll see. We're going to sign four most likely four offensive linemen, and one or two is a good likelihood to be a JC guy in that spot, and maybe a wide receiver if there's the great one out there. So, running back, we're going to take the next best big back that we can find at this point, and if the young man ends up being a freshman or he ends up being a junior, we'll see as we go through. So, 4 or 5 junior college kids, 6 at the most, versus last year 18 or something. We took a bunch last year. The numbers won't be nearly as high.
What kind of approach do you anticipate taking with these two quarterbacks going into spring ball?
It's going to be a major topic of discussion for a long time, and we're going to play them both as we roll through. And I don't think we're in a position to say at the end of this season the starter for next season is. That won't be that way. It'll be I don't want to really even say it's a competition. I think we have two very good football players with some decisions to be made, and it's a good decision to have, but it also will be a complicated decision to make. There's no question about it, and we will we'll continue to fight through it and just see how it looks. But it's a good problem to have. It's kind of like people are running around here with their head cut off trying to get ready for a bowl game and a little bit stressed out and everything else. And I said, those are all really, really good problems to have. So having two quarterbacks is a really good problem to have. So we'll get through it and see where it goes.
You'll have Jeff Manning back by spring.
Yeah, Jeff will be back. Hopefully get him back in with us, and we'll see where it goes. And it's good. When you recruit, your mindset is to create competition, and there's obviously some positions that are much more highlighted than others, and the quarterback spot for us is both those young men have done a lot of good things, and we all know they've done a lot of tremendous things this year. And but we need to just keep building all the way through the program, and it's going to be an exciting offseason.
As far as spring football goes, has the extra practice time set you further ahead when it comes to your push for spring ball?
I agree, yes. I would say that most definitely. And we're going to do a few things a little different this spring than we've done it in the past, and I've kind of become a little bit of an early morning guy, and we're going to practice in the morning most of the time. This team likes that, and I think they'll continue to like it, but I think breaking it up we'll do it similar. We'll practice for a day and we'll meet for a day. We're not as youthful as we have been, but I think these practices have definitely helped us as coaches identify where a couple other kids will be in practice when we start, which we may not have found out till the second or third day of spring. And now he'll gain all that knowledge base that he gets with the meetings that take place from January until the start of spring ball. So it is definitely an advantage to get those practices in.
How many freshmen did you really redshirt this year?
Gosh, off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you for sure. Yeah, or probably more. Probably more. When we sat down with that, I would say there's not a bunch of freshmen turned around and played for us this year, which is, again, a good situation for us as we move forward.
And you said that you got your board changed did it change more positively than you said? There were some negatives, but did it change more to the positive side? So that means that your guys were better and things.
Yeah, I would say definitely with the young defensive lineman, it changed to the positive side. With the offensive lineman, it changed to the positive side. When I sit back and I look at a young man, Kyle Fackrell, Jordan Nielsen, those two kids stuck out for 5 or 6 or 7 days in a row, and they keep jumping out at you. And Elvis Matongi is a young man on the defensive front that's jumped out, and he's done some things. So you got to sit back and look at them and say, okay, if those guys are on high school tape, because that's what you're watching them compete against Division I talent on your practices. If those kids are on high school tape, are you going to be able to get them? And that's how I present it to the staff, and there's a lot of them who are saying, you know what, that's going to be a hard recruiting battle. And so that's a credit to the kids. And, offensive line ways, the Wimpy boys have done a tremendous job. Travis Seafeld's done a nice job with the offensive line. Tawny Fisilau and Travis may be a nose guard as we go through. So it's good to see the young linemen especially really step up and because it's hard to recruit those kids, and I think our length is better and our size is better. So overall, and a negative is probably not the right way to put it. There's not a kid I look and say that he's a negative, but there's some potential position swings. LeBradford Harold is going to be a safety or a field side linebacker. He's been here. He's gained 25 pounds since he's been here, 20 pounds since he's been here, and he ran 4.52 in the offseason. It's pretty good. I mean, that's pretty good now. And there's a bunch of other kids that have done those same situations. Some have not gained as much or got that much faster, what have you. But it's just good to see, and it helps us be able to maybe tweak a number to get another young man where we need him to be. Because at the end of the day, you have 25 initials, and we've only got about 9 of them left at this point. So it's not going to be a signing class of 25 kids that you're going to look at and be brand new, because so many mid-year kids and return missionaries are now coming back to us.
Any particular activities for the week? Of course, the game being the favorite, but any particular thing that the team collectively is looking forward to?
Well, I think first of all, last week, I like to make a big deal out of it every single day, and the kids come out and they get a bowl gift every day, and they'll continue that again today. And I think that's it's not just stuff it in their locker and say here it is. I like it to make it an event. This is a special time, and so we bring them out every day. And today they'll get a couple more gifts as they move forward. And once they get there, there's going to the Winter Sports Park event now is going to be a go-kart event. So I've been to a couple of those in bowl games in the past, and those have a tendency to become very interesting and very competitive, very fast. So I think I'll just stand up and watch and pray we come out of that thing healthy. So kids will have a great time with that. And, there's a couple times the teams are together, which in bowl games I like the way that this bowl does that, to let the kids kind of interact with one another. Sometimes you go to bowl games and the kids really never see each other almost until they play. And at least these kids get to see each other from both teams, and that's all part of the bowl experience. So I'm sure they'll all be great events. I know it's very well organized. It's very well put together. There's not a lot of gray area, so we're looking forward to taking the next step here and getting on a bus.